Namaste and welcome to Gap. Let's complete. Today we will discuss about Russia and India's plan to mutually accept each other's debit or credit cards. But before we start, let's understand about Russia's Mir cards. We all are aware of Rupee card of India, hence we will not discuss about it in this session. If you still want to know about Rupee cards, then please let us know in the comment section. So in recent news, we can see that New Delhi and Moscow explore alternate payment gateway Mir amid Western sanctions. That means after the sanctions from the Western countries, New Delhi, that is India, and Moscow, that is Russia, are exploring alternate payment gateway. Right. So we will start with Mir first. Mir is a Russian payment system for electronic fund transfers established by the Central Bank of Russia under a law adopted on 1st of May 2017. The system was developed by Belgian digital payments company OpenWay and is operated by the Russian National Card Payment System, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Central Bank of Russia. Mir does not itself issue cards, extend credit, or set rates and fees for consumers. Rather, Mir provides financial institutions with Mir branded payment product than they use to offer credit, debit, or other programs to their customers. The development and implementation of Mir was encouraged by the imposition of international sanctions against Russia in 2014 to move around the dependence of Visa and MasterCard. Mir as an idea was born out of a series of joint initiatives between the Central Bank of Russia and the World Bank in the May 2000s that aimed to create a framework of an autonomous payment processing system inside the Russian Federation. Mir cards were initially accepted mostly by Russia-based companies such as Aeroflot and Russian Railways, but it gradually became popular among foreign companies with operations in Russia. In April 2016, AliExpress became the first foreign company to accept Mir as a form of payment within the Russian Federation, and McDonald's was the first US company to accept Mir card. By the end of 2016, 1.76 million cards had been issued by 64 banks. 5 years later, by the end of December 2021, over 113.6 million cards were in circulation. In 2020, 3.5 billion payments were issued, an increase of 75% over the previous year. As of July 26, 2022, Mir is used in 10 countries. And those are countries Armenia, Belarus, Cuba, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Venezuela, and Vietnam. So in the world map, here you can see the countries which are marked in red are the countries who are using Mir card, right? Now you can see even Russian TV has published this type of meme in social media to make the announcement of acceptance of Mir and Rupee cards between both the countries, right? Now we will discuss about the alternate payment gateway which India and Russia are exploring, right? So India and Russia may soon mutually recognize Mir and Rupee payment systems. Also, it is reported that the parties continue negotiation to expand the use of national currencies in bilateral trade payment. Cards based on Russia's Mir payment system may soon be accepted at ATMs and the point of sale terminals in India as the two nations continue discussion to build a financial system which would not be affected by the Western sanctions on Russia. Russia is likely to clear the way for acceptance of India's Rupee payment system. The mutual acceptance of Rupee and Mir cards within the national payment infrastructures of the two nations will make it easier for visitors from Russia to India and vice versa to make payments using the cards without any hassle. After the withdrawal of services by Visa and MasterCard in Russia, this made it difficult for Indian and Russian visitors to make payment or draw money from the ATM. The mutual acceptance of Mir and Rupee cards for hassle-free use of the cards by Russian and Indian visitors in each other's countries was among the issue discussed during recent engagements between the two nations, including during the visit of India's National Security Advisor Mr. Ajit Doval to Moscow on 17th August and 18th August. So here you can see in the article, it says that discuss the development of trade and economic ties and current issues related to cooperation in other spheres of mutual interest, including the peaceful use of outer space. So Mr. Ajit Doval had a meeting with Russian Deputy Prime Minister and they have discussed on these aspects during the meeting, right? So the two sides are working on interaction of Unified Payment Interface of National Payment Corporation of India and the Faster Payment System, that is FPS of the Bank of Russia. India is supposedly paying for its imports from Russia in Indian rupee, UAE dirham, and Chinese yuan in order to sidestep US sanctions. India and Russia, according to sources, are discussing expanding use of national currencies for bilateral trade. They are also discussing within the BRICS countries, a bloc comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the possibility of creating an international reserve currency based on the currencies of the five nations. So here you can see during this year BRICS meeting, it has been discussed that they are working on a new global reserve currency and alternative mechanism for international payments. Right. So now countries are figuring out how to bypass dollar influence, and they are working with other countries to have alternate mechanism for international payments. Right. Now the question arises: what will happen to Visa and Mastercard? Right. So we all are aware that from March 2022, Visa and Mastercard has stopped providing services in Russia after Russia's invasion in Ukraine. So the country has set up its own banking messaging system known as SPFS as an alternate to SWIFT, and its own card payment system MIR began operating in 2015. They were part of the Moscow's effort to develop homegrown financial tools to mirror Western ones to protect the country in case of sanctions are extended. So this means that Russia is not working from this year for an alternate payment gateway, but they are working it from 2015 rather than 2014 when the Western countries had issued the first sanction on Russia. From that time, they have started working on their alternate homegrown financial tools to tackle Western sanctions, right? And Mir payment gateway or Mir payment system is a result of that alternate payment system. Even Russia are in talks with China state-owned card provider UnionPay to issue cards. This move will allow Russian to make some payments overseas with UnionPay, which operates in 180 countries and regions. Right here, you can see in the article it says that China's UnionPay expands Russia's operation. Right, so it says that two or more Russia's largest bank, MKB and DOMFR, have stated they are preparing to issue Union cards. Right, with the facility expected to be open from early 2023, while others are considering the same. Right, so from 2023, I think these two largest bank of Russia will start using Union Pay card, right? And now we can see Russia is working with India on Mir and Rupee card acceptance in both the countries. So slowly, countries are reducing dependencies from Visa and Mastercards, and they are more focused on state-owned card providers and payment systems, so that they will have no effect on any sanctions, right? So here you can see in the graph around 81% of market share was of Visa and Mastercard in Russia till 2020, right? So now this market share will be shared between MIR card of Russia, Union Pay card of China, and eventually India's Rupee card will also have some kind of market share in Russia. So now it is quite evident that in near future, world will not depend on American companies and neither in dollar transactions. So everyone is trying to set up their own payment system so that they can avoid any kind of sanctions by the Western or the US, right? And while I was recording this video, there's one more news that Argentina has agreed to purchase HL Tejas from India, and that transaction has to happen in local currencies, right? So both the countries have also agreed to request the central banks to carry out studies for the development of payment mechanism in local currencies, so that trade between the two countries can transpire without the use of third currency. This development comes in the backdrop of more and more countries being keen to use local currencies for trade instead of the dollar, right? So with this all steps by the different countries, India has a great opportunity to establish its payment system like UPI and Rupee cards, right? So this brings to the end of our today's session. I hope I have been able to make you understand the topic. So thank you for your time. Stay safe and stay happy.